In the past interviews we've done with you on WWECW and on your DVD itself, on One of a Kind, you mentioned that your favorite matches were with Jerry Lynn. Was he your favorite worker to work with, or was there somebody that you put above him now? Now we're looking at the twilight of your wrestling career, and you're moving on to the acting and doing your own show and everything. Can you look back and still say Jerry Lynn was my favorite opponent, or do you have?
As far yes. There's some elaboration on it because I don't give short answers, you know that.
Absolutely not, and we don't. I mean, we expect you to. Please.
I have had a match since then that would be considered my crowning moment. But when I wrestled Jerry Lynn, there was something special that never happened any other time. We both brought something out of each other. We brought it out of ourselves, and the spirit of competition that those matches produced was something that it was just unmatchable. It never. It couldn't be duplicated. If somebody was going to watch one match of mine, I would say, watch RVD versus Jerry Lynn. This is what I want you to see. This is an exhibition of my skills and talents, because that's what a pro wrestling match is. It's a showcasing of what you got. And me and Jerry would go out there. We would definitely show everything that we had. We'd come up with some things we didn't have, and we'd pull it all out. I had a match since then, ECW One Night Stand with John Cena, when I won the World Championship.
Yep.
And now I call that my crowning moment for a few reasons. Not just because I was crowned the WWE Champion, because that was never something that was a goal of mine. I never thought that would happen.
Right.
I knew that I'm a certain way. I'm very independent in such a way that I knew that I would be limited in WWE because of the way that I carry myself, the way I do business, my own personal integrity, everything that's involved. I know that to get up to the top in WWE, there's certain things that you do when you stick to the formula. Traditionally, you politic, you kiss ass. Eventually, after you can't get up any higher, you hold everybody else down. You cut their throats, you stab them in the back, you smooch the writers and tell them, this is why you should go with me, it's not that guy. I was never going to do any of that, so I was always fine with however high I would get on the card. That would be it. That would be RVD's destiny. It was about me connecting with my fans. Once I go through those curtains and the people are chanting RVD and they're expecting me to match up to the standards that I've helped them set for me, that's what it's all about at that point, So winning the World Championship wasn't something that was necessary. It wasn't even a goal. It wasn't something that I planned on doing. The reason it was so cool for me was the way it went about, because as I said, traditionally through the WWE formula, that wouldn't have happened. What I did was I brought back the ECW, I brought back the extreme elements, the hardcore showcasing that was my best environment. That's what made me stood out. That's what gave me the advantage over every other wrestler, was being in the anything goes rules, which means that I can use my creativity, bring in a chair, and find creative ways to entertain the crowd, new moves, in and out of the ring, fighting in the crowd, whatever. Besides that, I brought back ECW on WWE's stage. That meant the whole world now could watch ECW, which it couldn't before. It was harder for them to see.
Exactly.
And they get to see me being seen the way that I want to be seen, the way I miss being seen, ECW style. So for all that to come together and have that one-of-a-kind crowd in Manhattan that totally was behind everything that I stood for, 1,000%, and at the same time, 1,000% against everything that John Cena stood for. That's why that crowd, was so devoted and committed towards me winning that match, for everything that was on the line, for all that it stood for. That was a crowning moment for sure. And of course, it puts RVD down in the pages of history.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't there already.
How was it for you to have Sonya there up in the balcony waiting for you to come up and celebrate with her? How cool was that for you personally?
It was way cool. She didn't know that I was going to come up there afterwards. She was totally surprised by that. And she misses ECW too. She's not a big wrestling fan. She didn't watch wrestling before I met her. which is great, you know, and she appreciates my efforts and the work that I put into it. But when she's at the ECW show, she's having a good time, you know.
Right,
it's great
exactly.
to see her having fun. And that was my moment, you know. So when I had the World Championship belt, all the ECW wrestlers came out, you know, to hug me and congratulate me. I wanted to go up there and celebrate with Sonya, and it was really cool that she was there. And it stood out in a lot of people's minds, you know. People tell me that all the time, you know, or they'll see her and say, hey, I remember you. And that's very important for me because obviously Sonya is a huge part of my story, you know. There's nothing else in my life that's more important to me than my wife and my relationship with her. And that's something that when given the proper time and the proper place to talk about it, that's one of the things that I have a lot of experience in that I can help other people in. Sonya and I have been together 12 years this month.
Wow.
Yeah, and everywhere we go, we still hear from people all the time, you know, are you guys newlyweds? How long have you been married? And that's awesome. Our relationship is like magical. You know, that's something, one of the many things I think I can help a lot of people with. You know, I have a lot of skills outside of just kicking people and doing backflips in the ring. That's why I'm taking a break from that. And I'm exercising a lot of other interests and exploring a lot of other things inside here, and enjoying other things in my life and in the world. And a lot of this part of my path has to do with reaching out to people and inspiring people and motivating people, whether it's with spiritual awareness or positive energy or relationships. I mean, that's something that I'm definitely qualified to talk about.
Absolutely. So 12 years, you guys got together right around the same time you debuted in ECW, then 1996, early 1996.
It was close. I actually started with ECW prior to meeting Sonya. I remember that, but it wasn't long. In my mind, I kind of think of her and going to ECW and now this hardcore crowd, you know, and the loud rock music and all that. I kind of, in my mind, remember all that as being, you know, like a big turning point in my life. Yeah.
Cool, very cool. Well, we mentioned John Cena earlier. There's a question from one of the fans here. His name is Drew. He wants to know, is John Cena worth all the hype that's laid upon him?
You know, who am I to say, really, because...
Yes.
Wow. That was
Well, there
Jade,
you go.
everybody. There's Jade's answer. She loves John Cena. You know, it was funny. We didn't like him at first, and then, you know, we saw him in The Marine, that movie, and for some reason, we grew to like him. I don't know what it was, but the performance in that movie was like, you know what? He's not that bad an actor, and his skills have gotten better. He's still doing the same old shit a lot, but he's doing a lot more new stuff, too. So, you know, it seems to me that he may not be worth as much hype as everybody thinks he is, but he is definitely worth something to Vince and to WWE. Otherwise,
Oh, no doubt.
He wouldn't be in the spot he's in.
He is the front man of, you know, WWE, and that's his position. You know, I've always liked John, you know, and what he stands for, just like that ECW crowd at One Night Stand knew. They knew that what I stood for, you know, was anti-tradition, anti-WWE. You know, what I stood for was thinking outside the box, for making wrestling something that's enjoyable and cool, even with the hippest crowds that aren't even wrestling fans. That's what ECW was for me, and that's how I felt when I was in there in the ring. I'm doing things that when people are watching it, they're not going, I could do that. No, I could do that. Hell no. People watch my ECW matches like, oh my God, that would kill me. And they know there's no way they would survive one of my matches because I'm out there to show that and to prove that and to give that every single time. And that's what ECW is about. Now, with WWE, which John Cena is a perfect representation of, it's totally different. You know, it always has been. The guys that Vince McMahon has gotten behind for his number one guy to be the symbol of WWE or WWF. It's always been a wrestler character that he created. Always has been, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, you know, back to the Hulkster. It always, I mean, that's the way it is. And John Cena fits into that. He's young, you know, in great shape, and Vince loves him, obviously. You know, I mean, look at last year. I mean, John Cena had more endorsements than probably any other pro wrestler I can remember.
A long time, anyway, yeah.
I'd see him everywhere. I'd see him at Bally's, the Cardboard Clown cut out saying join Bally's, and you see him doing the Subway commercial, and you see him just everywhere,
Right.
And he's wrestling, and he's got his, I think his hip hop CD or whatever he did, and his movies and stuff. He's doing great, and for what his job is representing the WWE, he's obviously great for that, and Vince obviously is totally behind him and enjoys putting him out there to people to say, this is what WWE is.